we talk is money, honey. All we talk is money. All we talk is money. It's like bees to the honey. Honey, money, honey, money, honey. It's the SOSCAST, baby.
Thank you. Welcome out there, everybody in Internet land. Welcome to the SOSCAST, only on Valuetainment, the sexiest financial show in the world. We all know that.
Let's go. Let's go.
Where finance meets romance meets faith.
Come on.
Let there be light, let there be money. Let there be women, let there be plentiful bounty. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been to church, but we got Matt Sapaula in the house.
What's cracking?
Money smart guy, the 7-figure squad.
That's right.
The #1 earner and PHP,
right.
PBD's financial services company.
Right.
He's been on the SOSCAST before, and he's back again.
Honored to be here, brother.
Sapo!
Come on. Let's go.
What's up, man?
Great. Saucy. Good to see you, man. Saw Vina earlier, too, as well, man. So it's kind of like I miss you guys because I know it's getting real deep in Dallas because, yeah, as you mentioned, Patrick is really knee-deep with Valuetainment now, and he's handed over the keys to the Field Advisory Board of PHP agencies. So it's just been an honor for us to say thank you to PBD with massive success.
Yeah, that PBD, something tells me that guy's going to figure it out and do okay in life one of these days. I don't know if it's going to work out for him. We'll see. I think he's going to be all right. But we got a lot to cover today, so stay tuned for some of the topics we're doing. As always, Natalya Dellvalle is in la casa. She's the baddie, and she's got the Jamaican patty. She got a fatty, and she's here with Addie.
Faith conversation today.
Yes. And, we said, let's be very selective because we want to have a conversation with Matt. We want someone beautiful. We want someone classy. We want someone who does business. And we got Marissa Young in the house.
There you go.
Hey. She was here
Thanks for
not too long
having me.
ago for a couple different pits. This is your third time being here?
Third
time,
yeah.
Third time's a charm. Real estate.
I am, yeah.
From have a conversation.
Nice.
Eventually about moving from a blue state to a sort of a red state. You've done
the same thing,
similar things. Natty, you don't know where you're from these days, so we'll have that conversation today.
I'm here now.
Today we're talking money, we're talking relationships, and we're talking how faith can be interwoven and entwined in everything in your life. The first book you wrote was called Faith Made Millionaire.
That's right.
You also have a new book, Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Explain the new book, if you will.
So after 25 years of helping clients, my favorite client is one I've had for about 21, 22 years. She's suffered zero losses in 21 years. And we're talking about the Great Recession. We're talking about COVID. We're talking about these flash crashes. Zero losses in 21 years. Wow. She withdraws all her money from her retirement accounts without paying a dime in tax, like the rich people do. And now she stays in a retirement community, not a retirement home. Different story. She's hired in a retirement community where she can live this next best chapter of life in dignity with her husband. The reason why this is my favorite client is my mom.
Oh,
my mom. So,
Nice twist.
It's my mama. Mabuhay. Nanay. It's my mother. So when I got involved in financial services, one of the things I said, if I can figure this stuff out for myself, I would take care of the people I love and care about. And that person was my mother. And we have a saying in our office. I said, never put a client's money into something you wouldn't trust your own mother's money in. And so a lot of people get involved in financial services, part of PHP. And I just want to let them know, if you don't have experience or confidence on your own, borrow mine. Use mine in the meantime. And that's documentation there of that. And by the way, I want to give honor and credit to my aunt, who was the first Filipino woman to make a significant role in the HBCU college community, teaching at a historically black college university called Howard University in Washington, D.C., because my aunt was a professor there. But she was the one who planted that seed of finance in my brain when I was a kid. She had me invest in my first mutual fund. It's like $50. And she said,
what age were you when you did this?
Maybe 9, 10 years old. She goes, now you got a little bit of ownership in McDonald's. So every time you go to McDonald's, you help out your investment grow a little bit. So that's why I was hooked on McDonald's, Happy Meals. And so those little seeds as a kid, because what my parents did, they dropped me off in Washington, D.C. for the summer. And my mom used to take me to the YMCAs. And that's what she exposed us to, finance.
So mama's living the good life.
Yes.
Not in a, what do you say, elder community?
Retirement community, yeah.
In a retirement community, not in a retirement home.
That's right. Because retirement home is kind of like your ward of the state. Medicaid,
Listen, I tell people all the time, we did a conversation last week about what's going to happen to you if you don't save that money?
Yeah.
We had this TikTok guru, the Indian guy, that was like, what do you need to save your money for? To spend every penny. Like, don't worry about tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, that's the worst financial advice ever, because there's going to be a tomorrow.
That's right.
Just because you're 20, you're going to be 30. Because you're 30, you're going to be 40. And you're going to end up like your mom. How old is your mom?
She just turned 79.
79, looking fine. She's going to be 80. And look at her now. Millions in the bank. Yeah. Thank God she didn't spend all her money. And she's just Filipino balling out.
That's right.
In a, not in a nursing home, in a elderly community.
That's right.
Doing her thing. But yeah, that's important to know that, you know, they say that there's the three-legged stool of retirement. Yep. You know, I mean, listen, a money smart guy knows this as much as anybody, and it's pension, which basically barely exists anymore unless you're a cop, a fireman, or playing in the NBA.
Or in the military.
Or a teacher, military. There's Social Security, which they're expected to be somewhat broken in the next 10, 20 years. So by the time you retire in 30, 40 years from now, how much is going to be there? But then the last caveat is your personal savings and investments in your 401k. So save that money, because you never know you're going to need it, because you're going to more than likely be 80. Now, it's just important that people understand that. But I appreciate that book. But today we're going to be doing a lot more focusing on the faith-made millionaire. So here's some of the topics we're going to be discussing today. Thank you guys for being a part of this conversation today. By the way, real quick, Alejandra Jiminez is in the house. Say hi.
Alejandra.
That's our girl.
There you go.
She don't talk too much, but when she says something, it's good.
Speak.
Yes, I do speak.
Talk.
By the way, we got a very international panel here today.
Yes.
Alejandra, she's Venezuelano. Oh, Colombiana. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Huge
kidding.
difference.
You're about to get some tea.
No,
She was an Escobar after the road.
I'm not from Venezuela. I'm from Colombia.
That's right. I knew that. How dare you confuse the Venezuelans with the Colombians? Hello. We have a Filipino.
Philippines in the house. Yeah.
We have a
Filipino
Guyanese, Puerto Ricano.
Spanish, yes.
Spanish.
A little mix.
She's a little mix, a little mud, little hot mud. She don't speak no Spanish.
Only English.
And then Marissa is a Long Island, Asian, Japanese, Italian,
Chinese, European, Jewish.
I'm just Jewish.
Raised
and,
Jewish,
wow,
but not anymore.
we got just hot mutts going on the channel today. And then this guy, Jew.
L'chaim.
What are the chances that a Jew is hosting a financial show? God, you can't write this thing.
Yeah.
So here's some of the topics we're discussing today, but thank you guys for being here. We'll discuss that Vault conference in a second. So, sales secrets to becoming a millionaire. I really want to get in depth on what it's like being in the sales world. So we both made a lot of money in sales.
Yep.
We'll have that conversation. Biblical money advice, faith-made millionaire. We'll talk about interweaving faith and some of the biblical lessons that you've learned. You've interviewed a whole host of people from the cloth, let's say.
Right.
Gen Z, we're going to have a conversation with some of you young guys out there. You know, I've learned my lesson. You don't just, you know, there's, I think, 80 million millennials. There's 70 million Gen Z. You can't just paint with broad strokes, but you guys out there, you're getting a bad reputation out there. So we'll have that conversation, but we're going to give advice to you guys out there. Yep. We want to get you paid late and do it your way. We know that. So let's get you guys some game. Scott Galloway, if you know Dr. Scott Galloway from NYU, sad, lonely, broke man. Let's see if we can help you guys out. I want to see you guys win out there.
Yep.
So we're gonna get some advice for you. Finding the one. You know, Matt found the one.
I did.
Took you a couple times.
That's right.
You know, 3 times the charm. I don't know.
Late 30s before I found her.
Bingo. We'll have that conversation. Late 30s. You know, success and love might always come very quickly. And then last but not least, maybe a little politics, but economic politics, because you've moved recently. We'll talk about states and what's going on in certain states. But real quick, before we get into the show, if you want to connect with me, with PBD, with Matt Sapaula, with Vinny, with the BizDoc, with a whole host of amazing people, you can find us on Minect. I just crossed what?
Good
2,000 consultations.
Killing it, bro.
You know, I could say a lot of wonderful things about Nati over here. I was at 1,996 Minects. I was like, Nat, how many am I away from 2,000?
Just enough.
Yeah, the answer's 4. Now,
When you give me those pressure questions.
Nat, here's a little trivia
you
question for you.
second-guess me.
How many away am I from 2000 now? Like, how many past 2000 am I?
14.
That's it. You see what? Listen,
go.
don't count Natty out.
It's okay.
It's not a DEI high.
I have different strengths.
It's a straight my tie statement.
That's right.
There you go.
I can do basic math.
Yes.
But by the way, we're having a contest on Manek. PBD announced this on the PBD podcast today. We had close to 50,000 people watching live today. Are you kidding me?
That's crazy.
Insane. It's a football game watching us. What? PBD, me, Tom, what?
Yeah.
He announced a contest. We just did a contest, the Manek Challenge. We did an amazing dinner last Friday at Casa D'Angelo. It was incredible. The new challenge now, if you can go to the top of, just go to the Vault Conference. What's the website for the Vault Conference?
Right here.
Yeah, here it is. The Vault Conference, scroll down, starts in 63 days. Discovered proven strategies, network with industry leaders, and propel your business. If you scroll down, there's this sort of, this guy that maybe you've heard of before. Nah, I know PBD, but that guy in the middle right there, his name is what?
It's Mike Ellison.
What's his name?
It's Mike Ellison.
I'm talking about obviously Tom Ellsworth right there, celebrity,
Biz dog.
and he's there's this other guy, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. They'll be there. Now, Matt, I remember in 2020 you were introduced as the Rock's little cousin or something like that
By Pitbull.
But you might be as big as him at this point.
Well, I've
Literally and physically.
Yeah. So, but we got to get some of that star power action, man. He's done something good. I mean, celebrity's a blessing, man, and thank God that Patrick is putting together this conference. I was at the first one in 2019. Is maybe about 400 or 500 people.
Yeah.
To see what the Vault Conference has done here in the last 5 years, because people are looking for leadership, people are looking for answers, people are looking for community, and I've got a video out there: 10 reasons why going to conferences made me millions. If you're not investing in yourself to go to the Vault Conference, your next deal might be there, your next relationship, you might be one idea away from scaling your business and cracking your next breakthrough. So this is part of investing in yourself. You can people say that by investing in yourself. I had no money to come to my event. It took me faith to invest in myself. And guess what happened? Boom.
Wow.
10 reasons conferences made me a millionaire. We're going to discuss that for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, you ready to start this show?
Let's do it.
Marissa, at some point, you're going to be dropping some real estate gems for us, okay?
Oh, I'm excited.
Hang with us, guys. Thanks for being here. Let's start the show. So, sales. Sales solves everything, as they say. Whether it's money, whether it's relationships, whether it's life, whether it's dating, whether it's women, you got to know sales.
Yeah.
Yes.
They say if you know sales, you'll always have a job. You're always going to succeed in life. Salespeople, especially the ones that do great, are the most highly compensated people in the world, right?
Sure.
Especially marketers.
Yeah.
Except for if you're going to become a professional athlete. We see an NBA season right now. You were just at the NBA draft.
I was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Where's that? There's
All right.
New York.
Selling yourself.
That's right. Shaking hands out there. One of our guys, Tiffany's father, Fred, is one of our agents, and he signed his son up for policies while he was taking NIL deals while he was at Washington State. Well, he makes it to the dance. Makes it to March Madness.
Yeah.
Right. They won a couple of games, and then make a long story short, gets invited to the combine, and next you know, out of 60 players drafted, he was one of them. So
one of your buddies' sons? What is this?
So Tiffany's, my wife's BFF, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Her father's, Tiffany is one of our licensed associates. Her father's one of our licensed associates. Her brother, his son, plays for Wash State, 6'8", just got drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies. Going to be playing with Ja.
It's amazing. And then my good buddy, Marcus Smart, plays on the team.
Is that right?
And one of my best friends, he was the agent for Chris Humphries, one of my best friends,
Yes.
He just had a player drafted. He went to Utah. No, Toronto. What number pick was your guy?
He was fifth pick in the second round, 39. I believe.
Yeah, so 37, 30. Okay,
35,
yeah. My guys, I think he was in the first round at some point. But we're deviating from sales, but you started this off saying 10 reasons that conferences made me a millionaire. Same for me. Showing up to events, conferences, meeting networks, meeting people, shaking the right hands.
That's right.
Some people say shaking hands, kissing babies. Right?
Yeah.
What's going on out there?
Yeah.
Not kissing hands, shaking babies. You don't want to be doing all that.
Zero.
But look at you at the NBA draft for the relationships that you've curated in your life. No matter what the business that you're in, I always say that you're in the people business. People like doing business with people that they like. So focusing on sales, you're constantly having to sell yourself, selling yourself to get a job, to get a raise, to get a girl, to get a date, to get an opportunity, to get your way.
That's right.
You know how that goes. Yes. Now, we have a video of a world famous salesperson talking about
who's that guy?
Why sales is so important. Who's this guy, Matt?
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise, y'all. Who's this good looking guy right now? I wore money green for you, Matt.
Man.
Yes.
Let's talk about sales. Go ahead, Matt. Play this clip.
There you go.
If you want to know my secret strategy on how to get what you want and how to sell, it is this video. And I always told my kids, if you want to get whatever you want in this world, it is through the route of not a college degree. It is through the route of sales. So with that
bingo.
Said,
so it's through the route of sales. So you were in the military. You were a Marine. You know, through your 20s, you were kind of navigating through life. You were working in the insurance business. Next thing you know, in 2015 or so, you met PBD.
That's right.
PHP. Boom.
That's right.
Faith Made Millionaire. Right. 7-figure squad. Sales. In life, in business, in meeting your wife.
Yes.
What are the advantages of knowing how to sell?
So, number one, the reason why you never asked that girl in high school to the prom, because you didn't know how to sell. And you settled. Right? The reason why you took the job or the career or your family told you to get this education or this, because you didn't know how to sell your idea. And so, therefore, if you don't know how to sell your idea, you just caved into what everybody sold you. And so if you want the best things out of life, the first person you got to sell is yourself. You got to sell yourself and what you want to do and get clear on your aspirations. And once you sell and once you're confident in those aspirations, then every decision after that will be in correlation to achieving that goal. And the reason why people in sales make the most amount of money, because in any conversation, the person who's most confident in their position and selling it will naturally attract the other person to their side. Debating is sales. You know your facts, your figures. And through that confidence of knowing those facts and figures, or why things are where they're at, or the problems exist, why your service, your solution, your side of the argument is better for that situation, and you sell it, you naturally win people over, and you end up rallying. And I mean, look how Patrick sells capitalism. Look how you sell money, save that money, right? You're selling it. A lot of things that your coach, your teachers, your professors, your influencers, the people that you naturally follow, guess what they know how to do naturally? You don't even know it. They're very good at sales. I think some of the best salespeople in the world are pastors,
right?
because think about this, they're selling you on a destination they've never been to.
Yep.
Faith,
right? Correct.
Faith Made Millionaire.
They're selling you a man they've never met.
Yeah,
they may have had an encounter with, but they've never had. It's not like they had lunch with Jesus, right? To sell you about heaven. So some of the best salespeople are out there. So good. By the way, good or bad, sales wins.
What do you think makes a good salesperson a great salesperson? Because I've seen in PHP, and I want to bring up some examples of that. I've seen some of these leaderboards. Yeah. There's the people who are doing all right. There's the MDs, that $50,000 ring earner, that kind of a thing. There's the guys that hit the 6 figures. Then there's the guys that hit the 7 figures. Yeah. How do you go from good to great in sales?
I think first one is you got to master that skill set, because when you have a skill set of how to sell, you're more confident. When you're more confident, you end up doing more. You end up having more results. So for the guy trying to perfect the shot, one shot at a time, but you do 10. So I tell my guys, don't focus on the result. Focus on the activity of sales. Some people are trying to master one video. You're trying to master one script instead of just going through the repetition of doing it. And once you go through the repetition of doing, you end up mastering it along the way. And once you master along the way, you want to do it more often. And so sometimes people try to perfect, or they're afraid of rejection. But number one, if you just focus on the skill set of something, the second part of it is consistency and repetition of it. And the third one is just a work ethic. A lot of people say they work hard, but they're working with the wrong skill set. And a lot of pros will tell, in other words, in a sales conversation, the amateurs will tell, sell. Talk. The pros know how to ask.
Yeah.
They know how to ask and dig deep for the pain. And they know how to expose that pain to somebody else and show them the consequences of that pain. And if they allow the consequences of the pain to continue to exist, this is your current reality. Do you want that or not? If you want a solution to that, boom, here's my product or my service.
Exactly. So, you ever read the book QBS, Question-Based Selling?
I've never.
So, but the basic premise of what you're saying is that selling, they used to say, selling is telling. That's what they used to say.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Selling is not telling. Selling is asking.
That's right.
What does Elon Musk say? He always says you get paid in direct correlation to the size of the problems that you solve. And, you're finding pain points, whether you're insurance, all right, what's their pain point? God forbid, I pass away. What's going to happen to my kids? Yeah. All right, you're selling tech, you're selling software. Hey, you want the most updated, technologically advanced stuff so you can compete in the marketplace. You're selling financial services. Hey, what happens if my family goes broke? Hey, you're selling plumbing. All right, dude, what happens if shit goes down? I'm talking shit goes down. You're constantly having to be solving what a pain point is. So real estate. Yeah. You've done some content about why you got into financial services versus real estate. Yes. Now, real estate, Marissa, our friend Marissa's in real estate. That's a whole different ballgame right there. Real estate, I think more than anything, you're selling the dream. And that's right. You're selling a lifestyle. So Marissa, how long have you been doing real estate?
About 2 years.
2 years?
Yep.
And what were you doing before real estate?
I was in car sales.
Oh.
Yeah.
Car sales. So you're a salesperson.
I've only ever done sales jobs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why'd you pivot from car sales to real estate?
I went into car sales when it was very lucrative, right? Remember the chip shortage and things were out of stock.
COVID.
This is 2020.
Okay.
So I went in and, there was a chip shortage. There was things out of stock. So everything was over sticker. So I was making a lot of money. And then when it started to normalize, I was like, oh, this isn't as lucrative as I thought. And so I was like, what's next? And I was like, what's the next step? And real estate made the most sense for me.
Yeah, a girl like you, I don't see selling used cars today. All right, I see you, this is what's going on. It's a lifestyle. But the real estate game is different from the financial services game.
Yep.
Because I feel like in real estate, you kind of got to be a little flashy. Like everyone I know in Miami that does real estate, they're driving Maseratis, they're driving Porsches. Yeah. Like I have one friend who's literally broke, but he's driving a Maserati. What? Neither here nor there. Yeah, because that's a status symbol. Where in financial services, there's also an element of like, I'm financially prudent.
And being very modest.
And being sort of modest.
Yeah. You don't want to show your flash because clients don't want to feel, okay, you're making all these fees and commissions.
So yeah, you're taking a percentage of my money and motherfucking driving a Rolls Royce, whatever it is.
That's right.
But, to each their own. So what do you think separates, you're in the insurance financial services game. One of the things I love about PHP, and this is, because your family is in PHP. Shout out to Marvin and Dee out there.
What's up?
Natalya's family out there.
Alliance.
What I love about sales is there's no excuses. Meaning anyone can do it.
Sure.
And I've learned this, like it manifested for sure when I started being around PHP. Why? Because pull up this picture of the top people at PHP. Now, I've been to, since 2020, I've been to all the different big events, even the virtual event in Dallas, and I've met all the PHP crew.
You're like one of us, brother.
But I'm with the squad. Yeah. And, my boy Ricky, he's been on the PBD podcast a bunch.
Vocals.
Ricky, I don't want no problems, bro. Gaitan, respect to you. Yeah. But I want to focus on the two guys in the middle of PBD. Because we all know PBD. But this is what I love about sales. And this is what I love about, they say it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
That's right.
Here you have two completely opposite people. I'm talking about Matt Sapaula and Rodolfo Vargas, the short, bald guy right there. I say that he's the Rudy. You ever see the movie Rudy?
Yeah.
Of the financial services business. Now, why do I say that they're complete opposites? Why? Matthew is the Rock's little cousin, 6'4", tan man, Marine, doing his thing. Like, speaks English, smart. God blessed you when the Sapaula showed up this earth. Just letting you know.
Praise God.
Okay, praise God. Rodolfo, 5 foot nothing, 100 and nothing, came from El Salvador, didn't speak English.
He was part of PHP just to learn how to speak English.
He joined PHP so now you see him now, and he still's like, yes, I part of PHP, and this is my sales success story, and it's obviously a thick accent.
Cancun, I love going to the bitches.
I love the beaches.
The what?
But
the bitches.
Let me tell you why I have so much respect for this guy. Yeah. And this is a message for anyone that wants to get into sales or make something for their life. This guy's not from America.
That's right.
He didn't speak English well.
Correct.
His wife, by the way, same situation. doesn't speak English well. Now they've been here 10 plus years.
Yep.
He was, I think, a security guard at Sears or something.
At Sears, right? What do you call that? Loss prevention.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, judo, steal something. Yeah, I'm going to take it. Okay, good luck. But every single event, I've seen, all the guys sort of win awards. But nobody, in my opinion, I don't know, you tell me, has won more, PHP awards for the top earners, the top producers, the top teams than you, 6'4" stud, Matt Sapaula Marine, and Rodolfo, 5'4", non-American guy. So he didn't say, but I don't speak English, but I'm not from America. My family didn't have money. I'm not 6 foot. He said, let me get to work.
That's right.
And you cut through the BS and you get to work.
Right.
Speak to that about who can make money in sales, because anyone can. Black, white, short, fat, tall, skinny, it doesn't matter.
That's right.
The cream rises to the top. Anyway, thoughts on that?
100%. It's the great equalizer, because sales is based on meritocracy. And if you are performing at a level, and by the way, Rodolfo, he may not be in the African American community, he may not be in the Caucasian community, but he's very good in the Spanish community.
Yeah.
Well, rightfully so.
Riches are in the niches.
One of his biggest offices in Puerto Rico. He's not Puerto Rican, but he pick up Spanish.
Pique.
Right? And so he knows his market. He knows his deal. But Rodolfo, between my wife and Sheena and Rodolfo and Ceci Vargas, it's a slugfest on the Leaders Bulletin every stinking month. It's a slugfest. Because it's about how fast you can improve, how fast you can evolve, how fast you can recreate yourself, how fast you can get from a victory or a loss and get back to work. And that's what Rodolfo. And by the way, speaking of which, shout out to Rodolfo. If things end up where we need to be based on what we feel we've done already, based on the numbers we've done the last couple of years, Rodolfo's due for a pretty big check in August.
Wow.
We're looking at $1 million check.
One check,
$1 million to Rodolfo.
Rodolfo, I want to know your address. I want to know your bank account.
So it's a pure meritocracy. We say in our office, it doesn't care if you're white, you're black, you're brown. We care about one color.
Yeah,
and that's green.
That's the green. That's why I wear a green jacket.
That's it, bro.
Yeah,
we care about one race, human race. And if you're down with green, money. If you're down with helping other people, great. We can find a way to partner together.
I love that.
So, in a second, I'm going to show a couple different quotes for the people at home. But the reason I told that story is because every time I'm with Rodolfo, I'm thinking, how did this guy get to the top of the leaderboard?
Yeah.
Because there's so many, in America today, especially with the younger folk, there's the victim mentality. I didn't come from a wealthy family. Yeah. I didn't come from the privileged people, the DEI stuff, all that stuff. This guy didn't speak English, came to America and competed in the financial services industry in America and crushed it. I think his team just got picked up by Integrity. There was some deal.
That's right. Our partnership with Integrity.
Yeah. So
official partners with Integrity.
Anytime that I see people making excuses, it's so easy to go down the rabbit hole. It's like, well, I didn't come from a family with money. Okay. Yeah. And then there's going to be a guy that's like, well, I came from a single parent household with money. And then I came from a handicapped part, my mom was a crackhead or whatever. And then well, I was born in a this. And it's like, there's a race to the bottom. Now, listen, my father had cerebral palsy. And here's a guy where I saw physically just not able to do things that other people do. Yeah. But this guy worked. Yeah. And anytime I tried to make excuses, because I played sports. I played college football. I played a little basketball. I was like, even in high school, I almost quit the high school team. Oh, they're too big. He's like, that's just what you're going to do. You're going to make excuses. So you can make excuses or you can make a plan to figure things out. And that's why I respect this guy so much, because he just didn't buy into, whatever. I'm from El Salvador. I work at Sears. That's it.
And by the way, all of his meetings are also in English. So naturally, for a lot of people that speak Spanish or different language, they want to probably bring it back into the language where they're comfortable at. That's what Rodolfo did. He kept everything in English. So he forced himself to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's what a lot of people don't like. Because in order to be good at sales, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so if you're just looking for something safe, cush, that's okay. There's a spot for you. But if you want to make some big money, and like what you said earlier, if you want to make sure you always have a job, have a door always open to you, you got to learn sales.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you got to learn how to ask for referrals. So if you learn how to sell and you learn how to ask for referrals, you'll never starve for the rest of your life.
So a couple of things I said there. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. There's a famous quote, your comfort zone will kill you, right? Where you just get comfortable. So I've been in a phase of my life where I got comfortable, and then I met PBD, and he's like, "So you have $1 million in the bank? You've got 100,000 followers on?" It's that's it. That's that. I'm like, "Oh shit, there's another level," because there's always another level to compete with. And then you said referrals. I always say that in business, there's something about the R word. So I say reputation,
relationships,
referrals, revenue.
I love it. The 4 R's.
Just like the see her knocking. Yeah, it's okay. She's more meow. You got a good
No, not as good as Nat. That was pretty good.
You got a good meow?
Meow. There you go.
How do you say meow in Spanish?
Oh. Meow.
Oh my meow. But here's what I've learned about. So this is a message to the people out there, and I want you guys to basically give a message of what you've experienced in sales to the people at home. But what I've learned from the people that make money in sales is that it doesn't need to be a sexy business. You know, it doesn't always have to. You don't have to be a Hollywood super agent to make money. You don't have to be an NBA agent. One of my cousins is an NFL agent.
Nice.
You think, oh, he's going to the Super Bowl. It's like, it is an ugly freaking job taking care of these 20-something-year-old guys and dealing with this drama out here. But as long as you're ever in the top 10% of any industry, whether it's insurance, whether it's real estate, whether it's finance, whether it's tech, you could be the best HVAC guy out there, the best window cleaning company out there. If you have the reputation, the referrals, the revenue, life of a salesperson is actually pretty good. But the flip side is there's going to be a year or two in the beginning where you got to eat shit and grind.
Can
it's not easy. Yeah, no, I want you to tell the people out there what it's like for the life of a salesperson.
Oh, guys, by the way, before I do that, I got a book recommendation.
Yeah.
It's an OG book. It's called How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling. And it's written by a guy named Frank Betker. He used to play professional baseball. I mean, this book was written in the 40s.
Yeah.
It's still applicable today. Do you know where I found this book? My parents had a bunch of books. Apparently, they did Amway back in the day.
Oh.
And they had a bunch of books in the basement. And I'm digging through, but I just got the Marines. I'm starting insurance. And I find these box of books in the basement. And this is one of them. Next one I found was Rich Man in Babylon. That's the one that was Power Positive Thinking. But this book right here changed my life.
Yeah.
And the things here are still applicable to 2024. So to answer your question, sales not only just helps you make a lot more money. Guess what sales allowed me to do? It allowed me to become a better communicator. It allowed me to get the ideas from the inside, outside. Being a better salesperson, you got to understand the market that you're trying to help, the problems you're going through. So therefore, you can have more empathy and come from a position of, I understand you. This is why my product or service is going to help you. So people don't feel like they're being hawked something. They feel that they're being educated. They make an educated decision. And on top of that, they look at you differently like a salesperson. They look at you as an advisor in their life, a friend. The other area of aspect is allowed me to be a better father. Because as a father, the biggest challenge I had driving my kids around, Dad, why is the sky blue? Why is the light red? Why? The kids are always asking why. Why? So my kids are giving the biggest objections.
Yes.
And I had to sell why certain things are the way they are. So sales allowed me to become a better father. Allowed me to become a better husband. Before that, it allowed me to become a better boyfriend. Allowed me to approach the girl of my dreams. Because now I had confidence. Back to what we were talking about earlier. So when I saw Sheena at the hospital, I was like, oh, bro, I've been doing sales for 14, 15 years at the time. I'm like, I got this. Yo, Doc Monzo, you stay with, because it was at a hospital. And he's like, man, she's hot. I know she is, but I'm talking to her. You're not.
Hands off, buddy.
Man in the booth.
That's my lead.
That's right.
Coffee's for closers.
So that's correct. So I approached her with confidence. I opened up with a joke. She laughed. And as soon as she laughed, I knew I had at least another 5 minutes with her. Right? Until I get the next laugh. And I had another 10 minutes with her.
I mean, she laughs 3 times. That's it. You're getting married.
And I'm getting a number.
It's over.
I'm getting the digits.
Yeah.
Right? And so, my part of sales also is the follow-up. So she gives me her digits.
The follow-up, Nati.
Yeah.
Me and Nati are working on the follow-ups out here. Yes.
So I followed up 30 minutes later.
How you doing?
Urgency.
How you doing?
But you're right. I always say, you're talking about the confidence, that competence will lead to confidence. When you start getting good at something, all right, cool, I'm good at this. I'm good at doing sales. All right, I'm good at talking to whatever it is. All right, I get confidence. And when you have confidence, got a little swag going on out there. These kids call it the Riz these days.
It's just Riz, yeah.
You think that unconfident people got Riz? No.
Yeah.
That's just not going to happen right there. Competence turns to confidence right there. So, Marissa, you've been doing sales for how many years? Almost 5 years now?
No, since high school. I've been in sales jobs. Yeah, so probably 10 years. Yeah, 10 years
10
or
years.
so, yeah.
So, how is it for girls out there, women out there in the sales game? So, what have you experienced? It's a little bit different. Where do you find the most success? What are the biggest challenges for a woman out there?
In real estate, I would say a lot of realtors are women. So I haven't seen a lot of struggle there. When I was in car sales, I was the only woman, and that was my advantage, at least, where I was at.
Ocean strategy.
Yeah, so it worked to my advantage. I appealed to women. I appealed to younger people. I was the youngest salesperson there. So it worked to my advantage. But going back to what Matt said, I think the biggest thing is, because I am a baby in real estate, 2 years is nothing compared to when I look at the Mongols, right, of like real estate. Confidence is huge. And going back to what he said when he said asking for referrals, I think networking. The last 2 years, most of my business has come from referrals and networking with other people. Even meeting realtors in the industry, networking with people who have done a lot more business than me has been really beneficial. So I think as a girl, maybe you hold a little bit more power, networking and reaching out on social media and that kind of stuff. So, I go off of 2 years, one mouth. I'm a big listener when it comes to my clients and just networking with people. I really, do it to help people. So that's why I think that's the strength there.
Respect to you. Nat, you ever done sales?
Yes, I did a little bit of sales. I think in pieces of my jobs, it required sales. I know when I was working more so with, PHP in that industry, I was more in the sales on the recruiting end and that end of things. That's kind of where I fell in love for my sales, was taking somebody with no experience, no background, getting them to get licensed, and then getting them to make money that changed their life. I think selling people the idea and the dream that they could have a different life is my favorite type of sales, is that selling of the dream, but also having the tools to back that up. There's people who sell the dream that you're going to have all this type of lifestyle and all these benefits, but they don't have the maybe tools or evidence to back it up. So when you can find a product, a company that you love and you're able to, believe in the product, that sales, it's a different type of sales. It's not so much I'm selling it, for me to make an income. I'm selling it because it's going to benefit you. So my favorite type of sales is recruiting type of sales. That's my favorite sales. Yeah. There is sales in recruiting as 100%. Well. There's a big sales end of it. But for me, like when I love something and I'm truly like clear on what I'm doing, selling what I'm selling.
Well, Matt, you talk about the recruiting. Too wide, too deep.
Yeah,
can't be me. I've seen this whole thing out there. I know this whole thing.
Yeah.
A couple different quotes for you guys. We're a little message at home. We talked about the R's. Reputation, relationships, referrals, revenue, rock star. If you're doing this, here's actually a famous quote right here. Great salespeople are relationship builders who provide value and help their customers win. Relationship builders. Now, I said at the beginning, whether you're doing sales in business, in life, in picking up your wife, you got to sell yourself, and that's relationships. Now, another guy, Robert Kiyosaki, you've interviewed Kiyosaki. I've interviewed Kiyosaki a couple different times. He's got a great quote where he talks about how to make money. He says the following. Nat, go ahead, help me out here. My eyesight.
The most important specialized skills are sales and marketing. The ability to sell, to communicate to another human being, be it a customer, employee, boss, spouse, or child, is the base skill of personal success.
Exactly. Sales, marketing, and all those people he just talked about, whether it's a human being, whether it's a customer, employee, a boss, a spouse, a child. You talked about your kids, selling your kids.
Yeah.
These are all relationships.
100%.
We talked about finance, romance here on the SOSCAST.
Yep.
It's all relationships at that point. Yep. So sales solves everything. Moving right along with the faith-based millionaire Matt Sapuala. Okay. Biblical money advice. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh. Can I just take a second right now? Can we just hold hands out here? Say a prayer out there. I pray that you make money. I pray that you live a long life.
Yes.
I pray for all these things.
He said,
Lord, whether you believe in Jesus, whether you believe in Allah, whether Moses is your guy, whether Buddha is your thing, there's something up there looking over you. You know, Pat always talks about the man upstairs, you know, and currying God's favor. You know, when it comes to money, you kind of gotta believe a little bit. You know, you've interviewed a lot of religious leaders. We're going to show your channel in a second. You've written a book called Faith Made Millionaire.
Yes.
I mean, the two root words are faith and millionaire. And I want to understand where they came from. You know, the pillars from the good book on how to master your mindset, morals, and money. Okay. Now, even on your channel, the top performing clips that you've done, sir, on the 7-figure scroll ups, just everyone gets a good look of what's going on at the 7-figure squad. Come on, Ali. There's 7-figure squad right there. Your number one clip, Jesus. Okay,
Makes sense.
that pretty much has to do with faith. I see Charlie Kirk out there, friend of the show, friend of the channel. Obviously, very religious Christian guy. The Bible, faith-based millionaire. I see an interview with a guy, PBD. If you scroll down, wisdom from the Bible. Truth reveals how the rich got richer, what it takes to become a millionaire. So there's a lot of intertwining faith and the good book. So when you look at all, and I think if you just go to the most recent clips you've done, if you scroll up, Alejandra, the most latest right there, I think your last guy, you interviewed a rabbi. Okay, my mishbucha, okay, Mazel Tov, you're talking the money. The Jewish money. So you've interviewed rabbis, you've interviewed
Mormons.
You've interviewed Mormons, you've interviewed religious scholars, you've read from the Bible. What do you think stands out the most from you in a biblical sense when it comes to money?
The first thing is that you can serve two gods accidentally. The first one is you think is your God, right? But the second God is you think you're God, or money is your God, or your job is your God, or your business is your God. It's just not God. And was the first commandment, there shall be no other gods but myself. I am who I am. First commandment, right? And so if you look at the Bible, there's over 2,350 scriptures about money. About 11 of the 39 parables of Jesus' ministry was about money. If you look at his teachings, 15% of his words are about money and possessions. Wow. The only thing he talked more about was love. It wasn't prayer. It wasn't how to get to heaven. It was love, forgiveness. The only thing he talked more about, because he realizes as a human being, and money is an area of human condition. Before it was currency and paper, and it was gold, it was land, it was animals. In some areas of religion, it's women and people, but that's because people back then were possessions to work the land. And so what I've realized about faith and finance is that I've spent over 25 years in business, over $100,000 in self-education and trying to get ahead. I don't have a college degree. I have a 2.2 GPA in high school. I got out of high school into the Marines, at the Marines into insurance for the last 25 years. But the moment I set my sights and grounded my money, my thoughts, my being, my decisions on faith, that's when my life started to change. So temporarily sales will get you somewhere, but faith got me to my purpose.
So where can someone start if they're like, all right, cool, I got no money. I barely go to church. I barely go to temple. I barely go to the mosque. I barely even know how to pray. But I want to get started.
By the way, that question right there is faith. I need to get better. That's faith. Where am I going to find my next clients? And that disposition side is, instead of saying, where am I going to find my next clients? But say, listen, I got to go find my next clients. She said the word network. I need to go network. That's actually faith. Why are you going to a networking meeting? Because in faith, I'm going to meet somebody that potentially could be my customer. If I'm going to a network event, or if I do this mailer, if I do this network event, if I'm making cold calls today, or if I'm door knocking and shaking hands, either one of those activities results in some form of faith being expressed. And without any hope of, or any potential of any guaranteed result. Being an entrepreneur is all about faith.
You're betting on yourself. You're bringing faith that you can figure it out.
That's right.
So how does someone have faith without ever experiencing like that feeling? Like, you're a person that, you don't practice anything, and you're in a place like, I want to change my life and I don't have confidence. I don't even know how to have faith. What would be like the steps or like the beginning stages of someone trying to do that?
So for me, faith wasn't necessarily believing in God.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't. I mean, I went to church, and this is where my initial walk with Christ came in, is because I used God. When I was in the Marines, I've written about my book. I used God as a way, my salvation as a way as body armor. Because when I was on USS Tripoli, and I was getting ready for my mission at 3 o'clock in the morning. We're launching to Somalia, Africa. A Navy sailor asked me, hey, Marine, if you don't come back tonight, where would you end up? I'm like, are you talking about heaven and hell? Yeah. He goes, yeah. And I said, I'm going to go to heaven. Notice he wasn't confident. He was selling me now in Jesus. He's selling me in heaven. Sales. Right? I'm like, I'll go to heaven. You don't sound very sure. Would you like to would you like to be sure? I said, yeah, I'd like to be sure. Okay. Meet me at the ship's library at 7 o'clock. I said, I will. But one promise. What? You don't tell any of my Marines. Because I thought it was shameful.
Really?
To say, I'm going to pray and believe some God versus trusting my training.
Why were you shameful, though?
Because I don't want guys to think I was weak.
Really?
Yeah. Because I thought faith in God was a form of weakness. Like, we train, brother, for this.
Yeah.
Your body armor is going to be your armor.
Yeah.
And I felt that it wasn't sufficient. I don't know what it was. I just didn't feel that my earthly armor was sufficient enough to lead me through Operation Restore Hope. So I go downstairs at 7 o'clock, ship's library, and guess what I find? Not only them, but I find my other Marines there.
No way. Oh, wow.
So these guys were campaigning, selling Jesus. They're selling hope. And so I think for me, and also starting my business, like, Lord, if you just bless me with another client, I promise I'll go to church. So I'm using God as a lottery ticket, which is not really the basis of faith. Now, you're trying to have a transactional relationship. And by the way, if you have that with God, you can have that with everybody in your life. And so by treating God as a transaction, by treating people in your life as a transaction, I'm just going to sleep with you because I'm going to get pleasure out of this. I don't care about you. See, that's not a relationship. That's a transaction. Right. And by the way, I'm the first guy to have a lot of transactions in my life. The reason why I went through marriage, went through divorce, because I treated my first marriage, as that. So the rule number one is don't ever find the first girl you meet in a club called Kokomo's and marry her.
Good advice.
I did the exact same thing at a little club in Miami called Live. I was like, hey.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, so for me, to answer your question, I wasn't looking for a relationship with God. I was just looking for an answer. But the more I got involved in sales, the more I got involved in entrepreneurship, and I started realizing where the real source came from my resource, where the actual source come from. That's what led me to saying, hey, if I read, most people say, read the Bible, read John. Right? You know what I stumbled across in the Bible is the passage scrolling through the scripture? I stumbled across Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. And those Proverbs and Ecclesiastes is written by the richest and wisest king who ever lived, King Solomon. And through that, he started dropping mean tweets about money and entrepreneurship, and that's when I started diving deeper into the Bible.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I got some quotes. I want to think. I'm going to show you. We actually covered this last week, ironically enough, where you were interviewing this rabbi. Where we're talking about.
But he wrote the forward to Gotcha. Rabbi Lapin.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So you can't use this one as your most favorite memory of who you've interviewed. But this was some good advice. I don't know if you've ever celebrated Hanukkah or anything like this, but
I've done the Passover many times.
Passover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Moses.
Yeah.
But this was an interesting clip, and I want you to, after this clip, think of what other one stands out to you. This one was interesting to me because I sort of juxtaposed this with the Indian fake guru was basically saying to spend all your money. Yeah. And then there's this guy, the rabbi, what's his name?
Lapin. Rabbi Daniel
Rabbi Lapin. He gave this advice. Go ahead.
Hanukkah, we start educating children about money. The gift we like to give children on Hanukkah is money, and we also accompany that with discussions of what money is and what it's about and what you have to. And now you have to, divide your money into three. One part is for charity, one part is for you to spend on things you need, the other part is to put away and save. So yeah, Hanukkah is the money time of the year for us. It's passing on to the next generation the principles of money that are so important. What we do is we give.
So it's important because, the whole conversation is, should you save your money? Should you spend your money? No, you can do both. It's called budgeting. It's having a game plan for your money. Certain percentage goes to your needs, certain percentage goes to your wants, certain percentage goes to your savings, certain percentage go to charity. In the Jewish religion, they call it tzedakah. And, the best thing that you can be called in the Jewish religion is a mensch. A mensch is, you're like, what a guy.
Wow.
What an amazing guy, a man of honor, a man of integrity. And I remember flying, this is sort of a funny story. I'm flying on my buddy's private jet.
Excuse me.
He's that dude, right? And we came up together. He's the,
I know
you know who I'm talking about. And I said, the number one thing you can have in your life as a man is friends. You need friends. A man needs friends. But what's better than friends is having rich friends. You know, rich friends is pretty good.
Yes, right.
But you know what's better than having rich friends? Having rich friends who are mensches. Good people, helping out their friends, looking out for people. Yeah. So it was just very poignant to me that this guy, he has FU money.
Sure.
But you can tell a lot from a person when they come into money, it reveals who they are. Yeah. So if you're a prick who ends up making a lot of money, you're just a rich prick.
Yep.
If you're a good dude or a mensch and you come into money, you're now a rich guy who's a mensch with money. So shout out to him. But you can't use this one.
Okay.
Most memorable conversation with a religious figure and the best money advice that you learned from them.
With a religious figure. Well, the closest thing after him would be then Coach Primetime, Coach Sanders. Dion. Yeah. I mean, he's talking. I mean, it's nothing from scripture they was talking about, but he just always talk about how he invested in his kids. I mean, look at his kids right now.
Yeah.
You know, all kids, regardless of the divorce, he still continued to invest in his kids. He still continued to set an example for his kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a nasty divorce. But I don't know any other divorce that's a good divorce.
Yeah.
Right.
That just went easy. But to the point where everybody knew about it. It was a very public divorce, him and Pilar. And I grew up watching his reality show and just see what he's done up, down, throughout that. What did Dion continue to express throughout his life? Faith. Faith in everything, in all he's doing. And now who's blessed because of his faith? His children. His son's got a job with him shooting social media. His two boys are playing football with him. His daughter is excelling in her sport. Why? Because daddy's setting an example of expressing faith in everything, not just sports, but everything, your conversation, your relationships, your money. It just continues to attract. Listen, if you don't have faith, guess what the enemy does? The enemy comes back with 7 friends. It's bad enough to deal with one enemy, but to have 7 friends come back with it, if you don't fill that gap, that fill that void. And so those are the things that I discovered.
And it's interesting that you go to the most popular. Out of all the videos you've done, the video with Deion Sanders, prime time.
That's right.
Talking about faith and Jesus was your highest video. So makes a lot of sense. Nat,
Yes.
how often are you going to church these days?
I go often. I didn't go last week. I wasn't very well. I was a little sick.
You didn't go to church last week, Nat?
No, I was very, very sick actually. But I'm much, much better now. I go frequently. I go weekly. That's very important for me. It's funny because growing up, I grew up in private school. And sometimes when like things are pushed on you, you kind of want to like push it away, especially when it's like done by your parents. But my faith is different now, actually, now that I'm older, because now I'm taking the initiative to do things on my own. Like now I'm actually like looking to go to a church, when I moved down here, I had to find a church. And even finding a church that you're able to connect with is not always the easiest either. You know, you may be able to go through the motions, but maybe you don't connect with the message and how it's being delivered. And so for me, you know, going to church on my own, I receive the message differently. Every time I walk in, I always say, you know, God, let me take out all distractions and let me receive the message that I'm supposed to get today.
Amen.
Because it's so hard to silence your mind for an hour and just be focused.
Now look at your phone, right?
Yes. Now look at I cut my phone off. I just pretend like I'm going on a spa day and I'm like, I need to receive whatever I'm here to receive because I drove here, I got ready, I woke up on time, I'm here, I'm supposed to be here. So I think now that I'm older, I actually look for church. It's funny because when we travel, some of the sightseeings we like to do is actually churches. That's right. We go and we look for specific churches to go see. And you value things different when you look for it versus when it's just handed to you. And so, for me, churches, it's a special place. It's funny because when I go into kind of, you know, questionable decisions and, you know, my parents are like, don't do that, and I do it, I find myself kind of reverting back to church because I know this is a place where I'm not going to get I told you so not to do that, right? I'm not going to get a slap on the wrist, but I'm going to get a place where I can be at peace and I can find the answer that I'm looking for on my own. I think that's very important that people know how to find an answer they're looking for on their own. So for me, churches, it's a special place in my heart.
And you're Catholic?
I am Catholic.
Matt, what are you?
Christian, non-denominational.
Non-denominational. Marissa, what are you?
A Christian.
Just classic.
I was raised Jewish, so it's like hard for me because I've transitioned, right?
Yeah. You're really a new character.
I guess
Chinese, Italian, Jewish.
Are you Messianic? Are you a Messianic Jew? Jews for Jesus?
What is? I've never even heard of that term.
Really?
Jews
Yeah,
for
no, I've never heard of that. I've heard of
yeah.
no.
Yeah,
It's a thing.
What is that?
So, because of course, the Orthodox Jewish versus, because they don't recognize Christ as the Savior, versus the Jews for Jesus or Jews for Christ. The Messianic Jews honor Jesus as the Messiah.
Interesting. No,
It's an
I didn't
interesting
even know that.
dynamic.
That's
out
very
there.
interesting.
By the way, a little fun fact: Jesus, he was Jewish.
Sure.
Breaking news here, guys.
You always use that line.
He was a rabbi.
You're like,
The carpenter was
"He's
doing his
Jewish, I'm
thing. You know, so the Jews, they recognized that Jesus was a figure, you know,
Yeah.
a controversial one, an enlightened one,
Yeah.
someone who made a difference. They just, you know, just believe in the one
Right.
God out there. But Jesus is the thing. How often do you go to church, temple, mosque, synagogue, Messianic Jew? You're learning a lot of things. How often do you go to any sort of house of worship?
I go to church when I'm home. My dad goes every Sunday. And he has like a men's church group every Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
So he's very involved in his church. I do go when I'm home. I don't go as often as I should. I haven't found a church down here
Yeah,
in
it
Miami.
takes time, yeah.
So I haven't found my group down here. But I went to school in Tennessee, so you can call it like the Bible Belt.
Yes.
So I had a church there when I was
We're
there.
in Tennessee.
University of Tennessee, Knoxville.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a volunteer.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I had a church when I was there that I was involved in. I would go every Sunday. At this point, yeah, I don't go. I'm very big into my faith, but I don't go to church every Sunday. Which
There's a
probably
lot of girls
should.
out there that go, like, yeah, I'm not religious, but I'm just very spiritual.
Yes, I hear that all the time.
spiritual.
That's kind of what I said. It's kind of.
And on my zodiac sign. What does that mean?
I think it's.
I don't think girls even know. I'm
I
just
think
spiritual.
it's their form.
I like the moon.
I think it's their form
Yeah.
of like creating a type of faith, which I don't think is. I don't think it's horrible, but I also don't think there's a right like path direction when you create it on your own. I think when you're able to go to a place that's like a community and you're able to find like fellow individuals that can kind of believe in the same thing that you believe in. It's a community. You work different. You network different. Your conversations are different, you know? And, you know, you can be spiritual, right? But I think sometimes people may go through chaotic times and then that's when they really look for, hey, okay, now I need to really find God because I feel like total despair. So, I don't know.
How about you, Alejandra? Where do you go?
I don't go to church here. I haven't found like one that I connect with because for me, I have my own relationship with God. Doesn't matter like the church. But if I'm going to a church, I need to connect to the way they deliver the message. So when I go there and I don't feel like I'm getting the message, so I don't like it. So I haven't found a place here. When I was in Colombia, I had my church and I went there like every Sunday. But I'm kind of where when Adam was talking about spiritual, like I pray and I believe in God. But for me, my relationship is him and me. I talk to him, I pray every night. And everything that I do, I just like, hey, just give me a sign. What should I do? I don't believe in zodiac, but I do believe in manifestation, spiritual, like the moon as well. So yeah, I don't go to church that often because I haven't found one here. But I'm Catholic. I believe in God, and I feel like most important thing is that you act like you're a son of God. Like you behave good, like you do help others, you think about others, you're a caring person. For me, that's more important than going to church.
Respect to you, Ali. So I had not gone to temple, synagogue in years, man. Years. And PBD says to me one day, he goes, why don't you go to temple? Why don't you go to, I was like, Saturday morning. He's like, just go.
Yeah.
And this was probably like 6 months ago, maybe even longer than that. And I said, all right, PBD, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go on a Saturday morning. So I woke up. And you're talking about somebody that like Friday night, I'm in a club in South Beach kind of a thing. I said, I'm not going out, taking it easy. It was the first year in my life that I actually didn't go out on New Year's, right? Because former nightlife guy, I have a bar in South Beach, taking it easy. Thank you, PBD. You know, PBD, values and principles and faith. So I went to temple. And there wasn't a lot of people there. There was a lot of older folks. Yeah. And I just sat there by myself. I was just completely by myself. And I just sat there and I just started like tearing up for some reason. It wasn't a sermon. It wasn't anything going on. It was just more like, wow, you're here. You did something. Like it felt so good. And since then, I've gone back a handful of times.
Yeah, what was good about it?
It's cool.
What did you feel?
Just, it's kind of like, the best way to describe it is kind of like a warm blanket. It's like, I had a conversation with a guy there. He says, what you got to figure out in your life is how to go from being the mayor of Pleasureville to being the captain of Joyville.
Yeah.
And finding joy in your life and not just party, pleasure, chicks, whatever. And I think just kind of getting back to balance of house of worship, beautiful thing. I mean, in Judaism, churches are incredible. Even in Mormon, you said you interviewed Mormons.
Tabernacle.
Amazing church, like amazing. Even mosques, just gorgeous. I mean, they build these incredible things. In temple, it's all about symbolism. The Ten Commandments and the Star of David. It's just very symbolic, and it was overwhelming. It was great, and I loved it. And it's just something that every once in a while I said, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. So, but growing up, it's funny because I went to a Presbyterian private school, and all our events were in a church. So I would go to church. I would do a thing, and it's funny. My mom would sing. My mom, like, her number one thing to do in life is sing. Mom, if you're listening to this, she won't stop singing. All she does is sing. Like, she can't say a sentence. Like, if she met you, she'd be like, oh, Matt, you're looking so fat. I don't know, whatever she would say. She just sings. That's her deal. And she sang in the synagogue choir, and she actually joined the church gospel to sing songs. Amen. Like, amen. Yeah. So I remember this one time, this is when I was doing stand-up comedy, I used to tell this joke, because my mom is running around the house being like, Jesus, I love you, and Jesus. I was like, Mom, we're Jewish. She's like, don't worry about that. Jesus loves you. Like, we're good. I was like, okay. Very confused. My Jewish mother singing at a black gospel church. But there is something unique about kind of finding the faith. Now, we're not, with Choose Your Enemies Wisely, anyone that's like of any part of the extremists, I'm not down with that. So anyone who was like a religious zealot, if you don't do this, you're going to hell, and this is the way it is, and I was like, all right, relax, bro. And then the other end, where there's people that are, it's like, God isn't real, and it doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. It's okay. Be as deviant as you want. It doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, sure, you want to go that route. So to me, it's about finding that balance. And that's what's so interesting about the Faith Made Millionaires, because, I like doing three things in my life. I like making money, right? Working. I like hanging out with my buddies. And I like hanging out with pretty girls. And it's being a faith-based millionaire, it kind of gives you some guardrails to say,
that's right.
All the pleasure, all the fun, all the let's keep it intact here.
Yeah, I boiled it out to two things, because one of the most scariest phrases of the modern era is this phrase called "do me."
Oh, I'm gonna do me.
Oh, I hear that all the time.
I'm gonna do me. Do you, baby? Do me.
Yeah,
which
that's
means
almost as good as like, forget about the truth. I'm living my truth. It's
right.
Like,
correct.
Okay,
that's a danger behind it.
Yes,
but the other flip side to that is do God. That's faith. And however you get to God, whatever current religion that you believe in, but if it's a power greater than yourself, which is doing me, you're on the right path to discovery. And to me, when I just started discovering in church and the scriptures, oh, he's talking about money. I didn't realize money, scriptures in the Bible.
Yes.
Well, how to handle money was in the Bible. One of my favorite stories in the Bible, which was that video right there, How the Bible Made Me a Millionaire, was a story, the parable of the talents. Like, Lord, come on, how can you not blessing me? I'm like, I am going to church. You're not blessing me. Well, son, you're one of three talent. You're one of three servants. You're either the 1 talent messenger, 1 talent servant, you're the 2 talent servant, or the 5 talent servant. And they were given talents in that parable was money. And so the master was giving these servants money in accordance to their ability. So the one got 1, one got 2, one got 5 based on their ability. So that's why I wasn't receiving blessings, because I was increasing my ability, which is sales, which is entrepreneurship, which is getting out of your limitations. And so in that process, okay, how do I provide for my, as a man of the house, how do I provide and protect? Well, you got to grow in your ability to be a person that masters the craft. You weren't going to college, so you got to understand sales. And then I said, okay, how do I get better at this? I got to release myself to me. And so therefore I don't make myself a God. God is God. And once I center that vertical relationship with God in heaven, then every horizontal relationship on earth became a whole lot easier to deal with.
So I want to give a quick shout out here because this was actually a revelation in my life. I want to give a quick shout out to our buddy Daniel, right? Our buddy Danny.
Yes.
So here's this kid. He just joined Valuetainment how many months ago? Handful of months ago. Yeah. Fan favorite. Yeah. Great attitude. And this guy taught me about not only he's a Christian, but he calls me he's a follower of Jesus. He taught me about Judaism. I said, oh yeah, teach me a little something. So he's Christian, but he celebrates the Sabbath on Saturday. I said, well, that's the church. That's Sunday. He's like, no, in the Bible, it was Saturday. Okay, and then he just starts. He does all these things that Jews do. I said, but you're not Jewish. He goes, no, but that's I'm a man of faith. I'm a man of the book. So I had him pick out a couple good quotes that we're going to go over about faith and money. But I'll tell you the story before I show you the quotes. I'm in D.C. and I've traveled literally 1,000 times at different hotels over the last 20 years in the financial business. And in the drawer next to your bed,
there's a Bible.
There's a Bible.
Or Gideon's Bible.
You know how many times I've opened up the Bible? 0. I've never opened it up. And I show up, I'm in D.C., and this guy, Danny, is teaching me. He's like inspiring me. Yeah. And this is crazy. People are going to think I'm like, what? I open up the Bible, and I start reading the Bible. Now, I'm a Jew. We call it the Torah.
Sure.
Or the 5 books of Moses. So I open up the Bible, and look, you're going to think I'm joking. I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And I open it up, and there it is, Genesis. In the beginning, God created. I said, I know this. That's right. This is the Torah.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? And then, okay, Exodus, Deuteronomy. I'm like, this is our book. I'm like, the whole Bible is the Jewish. And then I said, oh my God, this is the Old Testament and then the New Testament. Right. And then I learned something else. I said, what page of this 1,000-page book does the New Testament start on? You know what page it started on? 800. So I said, guys, 80% of Christianity, I guess the book, is just Judaism. I had no idea that. Yep. Now, obviously, Jesus showed up, changed the game, game changer. But I had to give a shout out to him for making me realize, oh my God, Christianity and Judaism, very alike. They call it Judeo-Christian values. Yeah. Very interesting. So thank you, Danny. Now, I had him pick out some of his favorite money quotes. Yeah.
Do you know the numerology of 8, what 8 signifies?
Tell me.
New beginnings.
Oh, that's the...
That's right.
Infinity.
That's right. So now you're launching into the New Testament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. I remember when you came back, you were so excited. You're like, Nat, I opened up a Bible this
there
weekend.
It was.
I'm like, well, what'd you know?
I know. There's going to be people in the chat being like, how do you not know that? We don't call it the Bible. We called it the Torah.
And that's what caused me as a Christian to study and relate with more Jewish.
Yeah.
Because when I started realizing we have Judeo roots. When you look at the Hebrew, and by the way, the Old Testament was written, original text of the Bible is written actually in Hebrew.
Yes.
So that's where the alphanumeric relationship of language began.
It's kind of like, this is maybe a little inappropriate, but like Dr. Dre, he said, we started this gangster, and this is the thanks I get.
Yeah.
All right, Jews. Okay, we started this religious stuff, and this is sort of
wow.
But, there it was. Thank you. So here's some of his favorite quotes that our good friend Dan, shout out to you, buddy, picked out. Religious, faith-based millionaire type advice. So the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. Now, if you've ever listened to Dave Ramsey, Dead is Dumb, we all know that the borrower is slave to the lender.
That's right.
It's just basically saying, stay the hell out of debt.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, that's King Solomon who wrote that, which is David's son.
Yeah.
Richest, wisest king who ever lived. Yep.
The wise King Solomon. Yeah. Also a Jew. I'm just saying. Coincidence. Shout out to you, Solomon. Here's another one. Nat, since you're such a good reader,
I knew
go
you were
ahead.
gonna
Read
comment.
this
Yes.
from Deuteronomy 8:18.
Yes, it says, "And you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get wealth,
That's it.
that he may establish his covenant, which he swore to your fathers, as it is this day."
I love this one.
Yeah. Break this down.
God gives you the power to create wealth. So in other words, we already got it. How come you're not using that power? It's like Superman not flying while he's walking. Everybody's watching this. You are powerful. It's inside you already. You just got to tap into it because God's already giving you the power to create wealth.
So it's one of those things where, you know, if you don't have good things going on in your life, whether it's money, whether it's health, whether it's ladies, women, relationships, you know, as George Michael said, you just gotta have faith, the faith, the faith. I gotta have faith. So shout out to Matt Sapaula, the faith made millionaire.
Well,
Respect on that.
Shout out to
guys,
God.
we got about a half hour or so left.
Great book,
And we're gonna get into a couple different things right now. So Gen Z, we need to have a talk. Gen Z. You know, when I was growing up, I'm the oldest millennial. You're Gen X?
I am Gen X.
Gen X.
Yes.
I'm the oldest millennial. You're the youngest millennial. And you're the, I think, oldest Gen Z.
Yep.
All right, so we got a whole diversity of age and factors and
generations.
DEI. What's going on in Europe?
I'm 29.
She's a millennial, one of the younger millennials. So the point is, you know, I remember when millennials were coming up. I started my money show in 2016. It was millennials got to figure it out. Millennials this. Yo, millennials are in their 40s now.
Y'all getting old.
Okay? You're in their
How your
30s and
knees?
40s.
How's that back?
So Gen Z, we're coming for you now because Gen Z's catching a lot of heat out there.
Yes.
Basically saying they're lazy, they're entitled, they don't love America, they're not willing to work, they're fragile. So I remember a lot of millennials were kind of dealing with some of these not so nice names, but now it's Gen Z's turn. And every generation kind of trashes the younger generation. But there's something different about this generation because why? What's different about generation? This is the first generation in world history, in American history, to grow up with one of these in front of their face nonstop.
24/7, yeah.
This thing. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? We're scrolling. Oh my God. It's a totally different game changer. So do older generations look down on younger generations? Yes. Do younger generations rebel against older generations? It's
Always.
the tale as old as time. But something's up here. Something's up here. Now, it's a good thing. Is social media a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's both. Technology a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's both. But Gen Z, you got some explaining to do. So there's, you know, you're familiar with a DINK? We've heard these acronyms.
Dual income,
DINKs.
no kids.
Dual income, no kids. We did this last time.
Yes.
Then there was ding dogs. It was like dual income with a dog. And then it was like dual income. Or then it was single income, no kids. I'm like, you're just single, bro. Like, I just all these acronyms.
No acronym for you.
You're just by yourself. You solo.
Alone.
Now there's a thing for Gen Z called NEETS. Now what is a NEET?
I don't know.
What is a NEET? And it's not because they're cleaning up their room and cleaning things up. NEET. 1 in 5 Gen Zers are classified as NEETs. NEETs are not in employment, education, or training.
Wow.
They ain't learning. They ain't working. They ain't hustling. What the hell are they doing?
Say it again.
So
It's what?
NEETs, not in employment, education, or training. AKA,
Lazy?
you ain't doing shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What are you doing?
Okay, what are you doing? 1 in 5, so 20% of Gen Z. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Is it a bad thing? So most NEETs, as they're saying, are opting out of the labor force because they're discouraged by their economic standing. Oh, times are tough. Oh, I'm not making as much money, so I'm just gonna sit here on my phone in my home and do jack squat. So there you go, right there. Now, Matt, you've recruited. I mean, how many salespeople to PHP?
Yeah, tens of thousands.
Like thousands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What percentage in the last 5 years are 25 or under?
A very small percentage.
Okay.
Very small percentage. And it's natural for people younger. And I say this tongue in cheek because when I got to the insurance industry, I was 23. But a lot of people that are younger than 25 don't really have the mental capacity for mature conversation with money because they're still starting to explore life. Usually when you buy insurance, usually when you start saving for the future is because you're looking out for somebody else outside of just yourself.
Right.
And it usually happens to be more 25 and above. Me, when I was 23, I was a single dad. That's why I got involved in insurance.
Oh, interesting.
So the ones that you have recruited, what's your experience with the 20-somethings out there?
The 20-somethings, because of the distraction of social media, they think getting rich is going to happen in the next 30 days.
I mean, you can't get rich quick? That's kind of why I got into this business. Can I get rich quick?
You know, if you keep working hard at it for the next 20 years, yeah, you can get rich quick.
There you go.
Right.
That's quick.
But you can make a lot of money. You can make I mean, we've got people that make six figures in a year or two or three, but they want to make it in the next 6 months because they get distracted online about some 10-year-old reviewing toys. They're making six figures.
Right.
And they think it's that fast. Or their friends are driving a Lambo and they're in their 20s without realizing there's some fakeness behind that too as well.
Right.
So they look at the end result without looking at the process, and that's what happens with a lot of 20-year-olds.
Yeah. It's, I say this all the time, especially if you're a man, you got to understand that you're playing the long game.
That's right.
You said you didn't start making serious money until your late 30s? Serious money.
Yeah, mid-30s, late 30s.
Right.
And I've been at that time for 10 plus years.
Right.
So,
and my story was when I was 25, I was my brokest friend. I was a jack of all trades, club promoter, nightlife, stand-up comedian, trying to do this, trying to that, broke. By 35, 10 years into financial services, I became a millionaire. But it took me 10 years of putting in work.
That's right.
And men have to understand that they have the ability, whether they're tall or whether they're short, whether they're fat, whether they're skinny, whether they're big, whether they're not, whether they have friends or they're not, you can create your own destiny. And who you were in high school does not mean that that's who you're going to be in college. And who you were in college does not mean who you're going to be when you're 30. And who you were 30s does not mean who you're going to be when you're 40. So, you said that you were broke, military, no education,
Bankrupt.
no college. By 40, you were a millionaire.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And men have to understand that they're playing the long game.
Yep.
And whether that's creating a job, whether that's sales, whether that's education, your time will come if you put in the work. And that's the biggest problem that I think that's going on right now. You know this guy, Scott Galloway?
I do.
Dr. Scott Galloway. We're going to pull up some of his stuff.
Yep.
He talks about
Very smart guy.
Oh, ridiculous. He talks about the most dangerous people in the world right now are lonely, broke men. Because they think that they're completely out of options. Well, they don't realize that if you play the long game, hey, listen, give it 5 years, give it 10 years. Good things will happen, but we've been indoctrinated into this microwave hustle society, and you think you're just going to get rich quick.
They're dangerous because they can recruit very good. They're the best recruiters.
For victim mentality,
Of course. Tell me, what would you rather do? Victim mentality, blame, and hide the shame because you don't want to get in the game versus outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, outlast. Which one's more attractive?
Of course.
Stay home.
But it's interesting what's going on with Gen Z, especially in America. I always say, get paid, get laid, and do it your way. A third of young people under 30 have not been laid in a year. They're not getting love on the social media apps and the dating apps on Instagram. They're not getting paid, 1/5 of them. NEETS. Ain't nothing neat about that.
Yikes.
But they're doing it, quote unquote, their way, which is sort of victim loser mentality. Scott Galloway, a couple of videos from this guy, and I want you to get your perspective on this. Before you pull this up, Marissa, you're 25?
26.
26. So you're like basically the oldest Gen Z. What has your been experience with guys in their early to mid 20s? Is it, have you realized that they're capable? Is it, these kids are just, it's a little sad. How old's your boyfriend, by the way?
27.
He's 27, so you're dating up.
I'm so interested in her answer because I have twin girls that are 23.
Yeah.
Okay.
So please do tell.
So you have two girls. You have two girls that are
They're
Gen
23.
Z.
Yeah, Gen Z.
But specifically the men, what's been your experience with Gen Z men?
So I've been in my relationship for 3 years. So we met when we were, I've known him since high school, but we've been together since our early 20s. He's grinded every day since I met him. He works 6 to 7 days a week. He doesn't take time off. His business partner doesn't either. They are always hustling, doesn't matter what time of day. He is the rarity. So I think that's why we've had the longevity we've had. Jordan.
Jordan is my son's name.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, wow. Shout out to you, Jordan. Good job. Keep it up.
He comes
Maybe
up a
you
lot
should
on
dating
this
your son.
podcast.
No, he's 5.
Just kidding. So Jordan, yeah.
My God.
So he is the rare one. And I think that's part of why we've made it, is because I think a lot of girls my age do date older, just because there is that established work ethic or financial support. And I think that we've made it because I've watched him start from the, close to the bottom and hustle his way up. And he's not there yet. You guys said it, like, it's going to take 10 more years. And he knows that. But he's willing to put the work in. And I don't think a lot of people are. A lot of guys I meet my age. So I respect that about him a lot.
Thank you for standing by him. I can't tell you how important that is for a man.
Oh, yeah?
I can't tell you how important that is for a man to stand by it while a man is still broke. He's getting beat up on a daily basis. Everybody's telling him no. He's getting rejected by the world, but his girl stands behind him. I tell you, I tell you right now, you standing behind makes me want to run through a wall. So thank you.
Oh, that's
Look
awesome.
at that. And, they say that most women, they're opportunistic, right? They don't, there's a famous phrase out there that women don't, they stand at the finish line and choose the winners of the race. But it's very rarity for a beautiful woman to just stick by a dude and bet on him and have a guy with ambition. But ambition, I see this all the time, is one of the more attractive qualities that men have, that women find in men. Nat, we've had many conversations about ambition.
Yes.
Yeah. What is it about ambition that just do it for you?
I mean, ambition, that's a very important quality, because if you have that quality, you do it in all the things that you do in your life. It's not just work, if you have that drive, whatever it is that you're touching is going to also have that. I think today it's really easy to get caught up in the whole facade of having that drive and making it look like you're actually putting in work. But in reality, when you actually see a man build himself and you see him struggle a little bit and you see him kind of even break in some moments of how am I going to figure this out, that is so attractive when you make it out. If there's one thing, there's a saying in my family that you actually say a lot now, which is, we'll figure it out. Everything is, we'll figure it out, we'll figure it out, we'll figure it out. And I love that, because it's that sense of, okay, you're going to take lead and I'm going to follow, because you have that ambition and clarity, and that's all I need, So for me, that ambition, that hustle, it's required. It's an attractive quality that today it's easy to put on, but when you actually find that in people, you connect with them different. You can kind of even sense what's real and what's not real. So, ambition is a requirement, and it's a tool and skill everybody needs to have.
And I think it shows character, right? Like, it shows that they are willing to push through the hard times. They're willing to. And that's just how they are as a person.
Yes.
Through relationship issues, through their own stuff. And that shows a lot to me also.
Yeah.
So, there's a couple stories I want to just go rapid fire. By the way, do you have that article? Before you pull this clip, there's the Gen Z is fragile and difficult to work with article.
Yes, give me a second. Have it here.
Yeah, Gen Z really are the hardest to work with. Even their managers, their own generation, say they're difficult. Instead, bosses plan to hire more of their millennial counterparts. They're basically saying, listen, but here's what I know for sure. We did the last episode about you're going to live probably to 80, 90, 100. So get used to a 4-letter word called work and another 4-letter word called earn. And there's some of the best, and pray.
Here we go.
Because you're going to have to work. And, the 20-somethings out there that are basically like, I don't know, you're going to have to. It's inevitable. So just get used to it. Now, you can make the excuses. The kids that graduated college this year, right? 22-year-olds, let's say. They've had a tough go. Why? They entered college during COVID, right? And then they're leaving college during whatever the hell's going on today, Bidenomics. They've had a rough go. But, they say 80% of the people don't care about your problems, 20% are glad you have them. Nobody gives a shit. You got to figure it out. And that's ultimately what you're saying here. So they're calling them fragile and difficult to work with. Well, part of that is COVID, work from anywhere, work from home. I don't know. I don't need to come into the office. Well, the employer is going to tell me what I do. No, you're going to have to get your ass to work. Another thing is you're going to have to go outside. You know, you talked about how you became a millionaire by going to conferences. You know, there's a famous girl. She's called the Cash Me Outside girl. And here's the reality. Life, work, business, relationships doesn't happen on your phone. You're going to have to go outside and you're going to have to literally cash me outside. Now, here's Dr. Scott Galloway basically saying, if you're young, get the hell out of your house. Listen to this clip.
Home is for 7 hours of sleep, and that's it. The amount of time you spend at home is inversely correlated to your success professionally and romantically. You need to be out of the house.
Get out of the house. Nothing good in life happens on your phone. Now, we've been propaganda to everything. You can work from anywhere. You can do a Zoom, everything from home. Bro, when you met your girl, you met her in person.
That's right. Running my business.
Yes.
And she was running her business.
Yes. Even you meet someone on an app, you got to go meet up with them in person. Right. Just like, and respect to you, you made millions of dollars in conferences. That's literally how I made my name in the business.
That's right.
In whether it's financial services business, I was that dude showing up to business. That's how I met PBD. At a financial conference. Two dudes working out in the gym. Hey, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm just here for this conference. Yeah, me too. He's like, by the way, you're doing your lats back wrong. Okay, my bad, dude. What's going on? Like, that's how we met.
Right.
Everything happens outside of your phone. And for young people that think you can have it easy, just do it on Amazon and order some food and go on Tinder and order a girl or go on to any different app and order things happen. No, it doesn't work that way. You got to get out there and you got to go make a difference. So, even in sales, back to this, how many of your sales guys are just running around all day?
Yeah.
It's kind of how it works, right?
Yeah. I mean, you might be connected on social media, you might be connected on your phone, but you got to be connecting. Right? So you have to be in the process of connecting because you can't create culture. You can't create, there's like this conversation you have on text message and email, but there's nothing like having an in-person conversation with somebody. I mean, what would you rather do? Would you rather buy Jay-Z's CD or you want to go to his concert? Right? Would you rather just watch your club there in SoFlo, just online, somebody FaceTime in, or be at your club? Right? Because there's a vibe. You're missing on the vibe by not being in person with people, and that was a bad habit established by COVID. The work from home, stay at home, right? That worked because everybody was at home. Right. But if you really want to build a community, you really want to build a movement, you really want to make some connections and ask for referrals and get referrals, you got to be in person. Yeah, there's a difference between social media and socializing. Yeah. Nat and I, every weekend, I was like, all right, Nat, we're going to go out there. I said, we're not partying, we are networking. We are networking. Yes. Right. We get numbers, we're talking to people, we're getting we meet people like.
He's like, Nat, get the number. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And you're just meeting people because you can slide in the DM all you want until you sit with somebody. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? You joke, laugh. Like life happens IRL in real life. So.
And the conversation is completely different in person than on your phone. Even that you can say something and the other person can get the message completely different.
Right. Based on your mood.
It's just reading. It's not seeing your face. So I hate texting, having a real conversation. I call me or even just get together because you can read the message completely different than the way I wanted to, send it to you.
And you can weed out a lot of distractions. You know how many people can portray themselves on the internet. Oh, I met this guy. He's got these great connections. And then you meet them. You're like,
no, the real connection is in
very
person.
Suspicious. I don't vibe with him. That's very important today.
Something fishy's going on here.
And it's important to have that in-person connection. And for those who don't go out, make sure that when you do go out, how do you present yourself? How do people get the energy from you? What do they perceive you as? That's important because you're going out to network, but people don't get a good vibe from you. Why would they want to network with you? There's something wrong with you. There's things you need to get better at. So just be mindful of the networking that you're doing and what you're portraying because when you're in person, that's the real game.
I'll say this, life is like a meal. Social media, DMs, Instagram, those are appetizers.
Yes, right.
Getting out there in real life, that's the main course, baby.
Come on, baby.
Enjoy your meal. 2 last stories. We're going to spend 10 minutes on each, and then we'll wrap this puppy up. Matt, there's a whole conversation these days. Boss babes, feminists, stay-at-home wives,
we're going here.
homemakers. We got what's going on. You know, there's this guy, Harrison Butker, out there. He's getting in arguments. He's giving a commencement speech. You know this guy, Harrison Butker? He's the kicker for the Chiefs.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Who has said, you know, listen, congratulations, ladies, on graduating from college. Congratulations. Don't forget, stay at home and be a housewife. What?
The most important job.
Right, the most important job. Chelsea Handler, my ex, she weighs in, you know, sad, lonely feminist. She's not going on. So it's a whole conversation these days. You know, we talk about here on the SOSCAST, finance, romance, role of a man, role of a woman, work, relationships, pleasure. You know, what I know about Matt, can we have a picture of Matt's beautiful wife?
My boo-boo.
We love
Sheena.
We love Sheena.
She looking good, bro.
That's right.
So Sheena is an interesting girl, and I'll tell you why, Matt. And this is what I want to get your advice. Sheena's a boss babe.
She is.
She's a boss.
Yeah, she is.
She makes money.
Yeah.
And you guys make money.
Yeah.
7-figure squad. But she's also a wife. She's a mother. She's feminine. So you know they say that the women can't have it all. You know you can have it all. At different times in your life, work, family, wife, relationship. So you guys are business partners.
Yep.
You guys are
Parents.
Married. You're parents.
Yep.
You also kind of get it on every once in a while.
A couple nights ago. Yeah,
You didn't have to reveal that, Matthew.
4:00 in the morning.
Okay. Sheena, you go, girl.
I'm here, please.
So it's, how do you balance that? Because you built a business together. More, not even you. How does she balance that? Because I remember the last time we spoke, I said, how do you work together? You know, how do you turn it on? How to turn it off? And one of my favorite quotes, you said, if you want to talk to the fool in me, you get the fool. You want to talk to the king in me, you get the king.
That's right.
King Sapaula in the house.
What you want? What you want?
What you want, girl? So it's an interesting dynamic, but here's a type of woman who makes a ton of money, but also maintains her femininity. Hard to do. What's your experience in having a woman have that balancing act?
So great reference point. Go back to King Solomon. In Proverbs 31 is a woman of noble character. So I was wondering, God, what's that type of woman for me? Well, until I stumbled across Proverbs 31, well, that was my checklist. There's a checklist in there of how a woman of noble character operates. And by the way, if I want to attract a woman of noble character, well, guess what I got to have too as well? A man of noble character, right? And so in that, if you read Proverbs chapter 31, it talks about her husband sits amongst kings, right? And what she do the things at the house? She's taking care of the family. And at the same time too, as well, she knows how to sell. There's scripture in there that she's selling in the marketplace. And she's taking care of her husband. So I also go in there back to Genesis. Where was woman created? Woman was created from the rib of a man.
From Adam.
The God,
good guy.
That's right. Adam. God could have taken a bone from his head, so therefore she'd be on top of him. God could have taken a bone from his foot, she could be below him. But no, but God said, let me take a bone from his rib so she could be right beside him. And it was a rib because what does a rib do? Protect. So there's so many things that a woman does. And I love the fact that my wife not only is a boss woman, a boss babe, but she understands her role. And that's where faith plays in. And that's why I use the Bible not as a way to proselytize people and shove Jesus down people's throats, but I use the Bible and faith as an instruction manual on how to operate through life. 6,000 years of human history is in the Bible, both translated from Hebrew, both translated in Greek. And that gives me a framework on how to deal with the complexities and conflicts of life. So therefore we can operate in a God-centered way that God intended us to be. Because I don't believe I met Sheena just because she was a hot chicken in hospital.
Right.
That was a divine appointment, brother. And you will meet people in your life. I didn't meet Patrick until 2015, even though we were connected in 2009.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was a divine,
Dudley.
Pastor Dudley Rutherford. Because we were networking.
That.
Caught you outside.
How about that?
Outside the church, right? And so I look at my wife as my helpmate, as my wife, as a mother of my children, but we're taking on the world together. I'm not here. And by the way, I've never felt I'm the man. You need to listen. You're subservient to me. That's never been my role. So, babe, where do you think God wants me to act in this role right now? Where do you think I should be right now? What decision do you think, as a man of God, where do you think I should be? What am I seeing? What am I perceiving? Because my wife has got something I don't, and that's a spirit of discernment. With God has given that specifically to women.
What does that mean?
Discernment. How to see things and go past things. Because what do men see? I like you, bro. I like you.
Yeah.
Every time I go to, I like you. I'm networking. Babe, I like this guy. Babe, stay away from him. What? I like the guy. No. The way he treated it. And she breaks down things that I didn't see. She sees.
Yep.
That's discernment.
Because women have a different lens. You've talked about this before, Nat.
Yes,
what have
I
you
have.
experienced as a woman?
No, I think, women, it's that discernment that we can see beyond just the first approach. You see the men and they're fearless to approach, but the women, they see from behind the scenes. They're behind the man. So they see different things. I've experienced that too with my mom. My dad's we network, we do this and stuff like that. But women, they pick up on something different.
That's right.
It's something that as a man, it's a protective type of, like you said, on the rib, it's a protective barrier for the man. And that's why picking the right woman is very important, because different women will protect you from different things. And so having also that clarity with your husband, what is the ultimate goal? What is your vision together? Because from that, the woman knows what to look out for. Yeah. She knows what to make sure her eyes on for. So I think that's very, very important. I think as a woman, I think it's very important that you find other women to learn those things from. I've been blessed enough to have my mom be a perfect example of that. She's super lady, classy, modest. Shout out to you, Mom. But she don't play. And she is if she senses something, she's going to give it to you straight. She's going to do it in a very ladylike way, of course. But I think that's very, very important as a woman to have that as a characteristic, because who you choose as your partner, that's who you're going to follow. And if you don't know what you're protecting, you're going to lose it. So very, very important.
So what's interesting about you, Nat, is,
I couldn't even do that with you, too. There's people with you that I'm like, yeah, it's not my favorite. You're like, it's okay. I'm very, whoever I'm around, if that's Adam, my parents, my mom, I'm just that protective person.
Yeah.
And so that's why there's people you're like, no, I thought he was cool. I'm like, he'll be here for maybe a few weeks, but he's not going to be long term.
Yeah, bro. When I was single, I hang around with married women, married couples, and their wives. If I liked the girl, for example, my first date with Sheena was with around my business partners, and they're all married.
Oh.
Because I want to see how Sheena would operate around my business partners.
Oh, yeah.
And I wanted to see how she operated. Was she too cool for school? Was she not sociable? And she was just natural. She was just
testing her.
Yeah. It was a test. First date.
So what's interesting about Nat's parents, they're literally, a little bit older than you guys, but they built their business together.
Yeah.
Now, what does your boyfriend do for work?
He builds sales teams.
He's in sales.
Love it.
And you're in real estate sales. So there's a lot of alignment there.
Yes.
Right? So it's always interesting, a dynamic to me, because I'm going through this process of the selection process of Proverbs 31, trying to find my noble woman.
Even those girls.
Trying to go from the captain of Pleasureville to the mayor of Joyville, right? We're trying to do that. And it's very unique being in the same business as your wife or as your partner. Yeah. It's interesting because I find myself, if I'm dating a girl and I'm in finance and I'm in media, podcast, whatever, and let's say she's in just something completely different. And what does every girl want to do when she gets home? Talk about her day. Talk about her day. What did Chris Rock said? There's only, when a girl gets home, the only a few things you got to do. Okay. Get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Okay. What's up? And he said, you always got to stay. I told you that bitch crazy. Because every girl's got someone she works with that's tough to deal with, all that. But, there's something, I guess I want to know the good, the bad, the ugly of, you're in the same business. You have the same goals. You have the same dreams. You have the same aspirations. You're on the same page. Awesome. Then it's like, all right, when you turn it on, turn it off. Okay, cool. Versus, all right, I'm a lawyer and my wife is a nurse, right? It's like you got nothing going on unless you're looking for slip and fall patients, right? But I have a hard time, I guess, listening or empathizing with a girl who's working on something that I got no interest in talking about. Yeah. Because I'm like, dude, I'm going this way. I'm on my path. Yeah. And I'm a little bit selfish. I get it. And the girl that unless, Proverbs shows up, the girl I end up with, she's probably going to have to get on Team Adam. Yeah. Right? Correct. So I'm not getting on your team. I'm not moving to a different state. I'm not you got to get on Team Adam. So you got to buy into what I'm doing. Yeah. So unless she's making a killing doing her thing and I'm going to help with, it's hard to have a level of interest in a completely different other field. Right? So you guys work together. What are the challenges, the benefits, the disadvantages, the pros, the cons of being in the same business together versus completely polar opposite businesses?
So Tina got on Team Sapaula because she heard me on the phone, in the car, on Bluetooth, talking to my guys. And simultaneously, she was taking a sales call from her boss. And her boss treated her like a boss. And I was talking to my guys because I'm coaching and mentoring. We're in business together. And she goes, babe, are you really the boss of your company? I'm like, why is that? She says, listen, I was talking to a boss. That was a boss conversation. You're like in a locker room. What you do? So let me go see where you're at. So that's what she started doing. She started coming around my business. She started coming to my office. Right? So she started snooping and pooping. I was like, I got nothing to hide. Come by. Matter of fact, I want you to come by. Right. But I wasn't recruiting her.
She's like, is this guy for real? She's doing a little vetting.
Yeah. And so, but when it comes to the good, here's the good. I don't have to repeat things. I don't have to explain the things because my wife understands my industry. She understands the people I'm dealing with, the sales I'm closing, the relationship I'm building, the networks I'm a part of. So that's the good part. So I don't have to really do a lot of explaining. We know some of the same common friends, some people inside the industry, so she knows who I am around. Here's the bad. We get into an argument. That can delay things. Yeah. I'm not coming to the office, no, you do it, and it becomes very prideful. Right? So when you get into an argument, the bad comes out. Here's the ugly. It's going to compress years of your marriage into a short period of time. Because instead of us just leaving the house at 8 o'clock and seeing him back at 6 o'clock at night, it's leave the house at 8 o'clock and see you at the office.
Yes. Yes.
Do you guys take separate cars to the office?
We do take separate cars.
Oh, wow.
Shit, bro. If we
not carpooling?
When we come to Florida and we're traveling together, wherever we're going, we take separate cars because I like leaving right before we're supposed to get to the airport. I want to get right there. But Sheena likes to be there 2 hours early.
Oh, she's one of those girls.
Yeah, she's one of those girls. Yeah, I'm like, you go hang out at the airport. I'm going to get shit done. But that's the ugly. But that's also a benefit. It's going to compress. For example, we've been married going on 10 years. We've compressed about 20, 25 years of life into 10 years because we're together every day.
I want to get advice from you guys. Picking a mate. You're married. You have how many kids now?
5.
5 kids?
Yeah, she wants another one.
She wants another one?
Yeah.
But you have one with Sheena?
I have one with Sheena. She had one with another relationship, and I had 3 previous marriage.
Okay.
Beautiful blended family.
You've been
no drama.
You're blended family.
Literally.
Not single. Marissa with a man. Based on your experience, what should a man be looking for as someone who's had the ups and downs, the pitfalls, wrong selection, all right, found her. Yeah. Talked about a woman with noble character. What should a man be looking for when he really wants to find his one?
So am I giving this to men looking for a woman?
Yeah, to men.
Okay. Well, so for me, when I did the checklist with Sheena, she
checklist.
Yeah. So according to Proverbs 31, right? So I would talk to her. Like I love talking to her. She was my friend. She turned into a friend. Now, of course, she's hot. But once you get past that phase, when you get past the infatuation phase, I just like talking to her. Like she's got my back. She's pulling out the best of me. She's identifying things I didn't see before. So that to me, that was a big thing there. Number 2, how good was she around my children? Right. How good is she with family? How good is she? Because for me, Filipino, family's a big part, right? And then eventually for me, because we weren't on the same spiritual level. So was she willing to listen to God? And next thing you know, about 1 year, 2 years into our marriage, she got baptized. So she was searching too. So I wanted her to search. Because if my wife is searching for God, guess who she's going to also search for? Search for me. Me. If I'm going to be searching for her, because if I'm just searching myself, and by the way, if you put your faith and trust in man or woman, they'll always let you down. But if her faith is finding God first, and she'll learn to have grace and forgiveness with me, just like I'll have faith and forgiveness with her. So that again, the vertical relationship, the faith component is so important. So make sure I'm searching for God, searching for God, and the relationship here on earth will work itself out.
I do have a quick question for you. When you are around a lot of these different types of couples, and you maybe have an young agent, and he brings around a new girl, or vice versa, doesn't somebody's partner kind of show you where that person is at?
100%.
And does that affect the way you do business?
That's
like
correct.
if you meet somebody and then you meet their wife and you're like, I don't know about the wife, does that affect how you do business?
100%.
Really?
Yeah, I'll find that out at lunch.
Okay.
Yeah, I find it at lunch. Right away, if I see a guy at lunch and he tells me he's married, but he's checking out the server, looking at it up and down, I'm like, damn, I like this guy. Can't do business with him.
Why is that?
Because if he's roving his eyes with her, guess what he's going to do to me?
with your money.
So my opportunity is always going to dime me out. So I'm like, okay, we probably have a short-term relationship, but nothing long-term unless that part of you starts to change. Now that's not a judgment. I'm just saying that as a way of identifying a character and skill set that I long-term probably not be getting along.
Great. That you shared that.
Is a thought process.
Because I look at that too. When I meet somebody and I look at how their relationship dynamics are, that also affects my decision moving forward.
There you go. All right, Marissa, before we wrap up, all right, understand what a man is looking for in a woman. What is a woman looking for in a man and as an ideal partner? How long have you been with your guy?
3 years.
3 years?
Yep.
Look at you now. You talked about ambition. You talked about drive. You talked about some of the Gen Z guys out there. Ain't exactly cutting it. What does a woman look for in a man?
To be a person of strength for us when we're in a moment of weakness. And I say this a lot, aligning with our morals and values. So if our end goal is the same and our morals and values align, we are on the same page. And so things just naturally align like that. I think Nat brought up a good point. It's like, what is the character of, your partner? It shows a lot about who you are. I think he's a reflection of me and I'm a reflection of him.
Well said. Nat, I know you're going through your
my search.
Your emotional clarity right now. You're out there. Yeah. She's outside, as they say.
But I'm protected.
But you've also learned.
Being protected. I'm like, I'm with her.
You've learned, you've had your ups and downs. What have you learned about what you're looking for in a relationship?
I've learned, essentially, I'm looking for similar characteristics that I've grew up with. I'm watching the dynamic of my parents, watching the dynamic of how they have each relationship with their child. As I search for my partner, something that's very important to me that I didn't realize was super actually like attractive and hot was finding somebody who has very close family values. Like I like to see a man very involved in his family. If he's the uncle or the brother or the son, that's super, super important for me. And I think today, because that's not so common to find, that makes it even more attractive because it's so rare. But I'm looking for somebody with, a good heart. I'm looking for somebody who is faith-based. I'm looking for somebody who does have hustle and drive. But I'm also looking for somebody that I can trust to lead me. That's very, very important. It's easy to have man leads, women follow. Absolutely. But it has to be the right man to lead you. And I think also having the right man also around right men is very, very important, right? I meet a great guy and his networks are a whole bunch of losers. I'm like, this is probably not going to be the guy for me. Right. So, there's different things that I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, I'm fortunate enough where I'm surrounded by a lot of great men who are married. So to see an example of different types of husbands that are in successful marriages, it kind of even puts my standard a little bit higher of what I'm looking for in a man because I see examples in front of me on the day-to-day basis. So I'm in the search. I do have high standards, but at the end of the day, it's for the men to kind of rise up and meet some of these women's standards.
There you go, gentlemen. She's on Instagram. If you want to...
I'm an in-person girl,
show. She's in person. Well, I'll tell you one little final piece of advice, what I'm learning, because I was, briefly engaged, a little while ago. Now we're back trying to figure it out, Matt. Okay. We're going to get here.
We're going to find
the conversation
someone.
I had with,
what's his name?
With our friends. No. He said, you got to go from Pleasure Mountain to Joyville. And he said, by the way, think about this.
Yeah.
And it actually stuck with me. He said, the girl you're with, the woman that you're with, the way that she acts, your potential future daughter, that's how she's going to act. I said, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I don't know what my daughter acting like
all these
this
girls
girl.
off.
I go, she's a lot of fun. But if my daughter ends up like this, I said, all right, thank you for your time and effort and your spirit and
your smile.
Everything you've done. But I don't want my daughter looking like you.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, be selective out there. And ladies, be very smart. You want to add to this?
Yes.
Go ahead. What you looking for?
A good heart for me is the most important thing. And also sometimes I talk to my friends and they say like, but what about money? Because here in Miami, I feel like that's a thing. Like money.
Not just in Miami.
Well, I feel like
around the world.
It's not like that in my hometown. Or at least I feel that way.
In Colombia?
In Colombia, Barranquilla, where Shakira is from. But here I feel like it's more like that, and the car they drive and everything. And for me, that's not the most important thing because, okay, what if he has money? It's money from the family, and he doesn't know how to organize that money to stay with that money. He'll lose everything, and he won't like to lead, like to make money, know how to make money. And I want more, and I want to work hard and get that money. For me, that's most important than having a guy that's already millionaire, and I can make that money with him, and I'm open to that.
Well, Alejandra, you know what you need? You need to have faith.
I have faith, though.
faith. You gotta have the faith. Anyway,
I can help you find a woman.
What an amazing episode we had today.
Great conversation.
Biblical, financial,
generational,
Yep.
romantic. It's been fun. It's been real. Heavenly Father, we thank you for all your blessings.
Amen.
Mom, you got a major shout outs today.
Yes.
Jesus, we love you. The Jews, all that.
My wife, you got a shout out today.
Wife, you got a shout out.
Love you,
Rodolfo
babe.
Vargas got a shout out.
SOSCAST.
By the way, Matt Sapaula is on Connect.
Yes.
If you want to learn money, sales, faith, family, and just being a stunt double for The Rock on the next movie, you can connect with Matt Sapaula, the money smart guy, the 7-figure squad on Connect. Matt, tell the people where to find you if they want to reach you other than Connect.
Yeah, anywhere online, social media, it's Money Smart Guy. Money Smart Guy. Anywhere on Instagram, Twitter, or even my website, moneysmartguy.com.
And Faith Made Millionaire, your book, you wrote that about a year ago.
2 years ago.
And the latest book,
Gotcha.
Yep. You got Mama.
It's sad.
Living in a nice little returement community. Shout out to Mom.
That's right.
Marissa, we love having you here. Classy, lovely. Jewish, Christian, Chinese, Asian. We got the Italian, all the fun stuff going on. But real estate, all that, and then some. Marissa, tell the people where to find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Marissa Rachel with 3 L's. I'm a realtor here, obviously, in South Florida, so reach out to me.
3 L's. Speaking of L's, put an L in the chat if you love Nat. Hey, Matt Sapaula here on the SOSCAST. There you go. Got to get that content.
Yes.
Nat, tell people where to find you, what you want people to know.
Find me at Natalya Dellvalle, all socials. Let's connect. I'm also on Connect as well. I'm also part of building out the SOSCAST and producing some of these shows. So if you're looking to possibly do something with SOSCAST, reach out to me. And we'll possibly do something together. But thank you guys for tuning in. I think today was phenomenal conversation. Thank you for coming out.
No, thanks for having me.
And having this conversation. I think today we don't have these conversations very often, especially with this generation. So great job. Thank you guys for coming. And thank you, Sos, for hosting this conversation.
We're having fun.
Do it, brother.
Yes.
Faith, finance, romance here on the SOSCAST. By the way, quick message. Today is July 2nd.
Yes, half the year.
2 days from now, we're doing an episode for July 4th. It'll be fun. It'll be more of a dating panel. But by the way, yesterday marked the kickoff of the second half of the year.
Yep.
So, in the business world, the financial world, it's all about quarters. Q1, Q2 just wrapped up. We are now entering Q3.
Yep.
And then, like the Miami Hurricanes used to do back then, where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson played in the fourth quarter. You put that thing up. Fourth quarter, finish strong. But thank you guys for being here on the SOSCAST. We do this every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for being a part of it. If you're new to this, give us a sub if you want to learn more faith, finance, romance, all that fun stuff. And if you're a longtime listener, we appreciate you. We love you. And sub to the 7-Figure Squad, Matt Sapaula, Money Smart Guy channel. We'll see you guys on Thursday for July 4th. Save that money. We out.
It's the SOSCAST, baby.